it.
I know you love me. I love you. I love you too.
Is that turtle talk? Alright, so I'm diving Kyalami today, and I am with I'm with Larry here. He's a turtle researcher, and we did manage to find a hawksbill on our dive today. So I'm going to let Larry tell you a little bit about himself, who he is, and what he does, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, thank you very much. About 10 years ago now, I realized, as I was scuba diving along out here, that we had a lot of turtles that we'd find in the water. And I found that, surprisingly, nobody was studying the hawksbill sea turtles that seem to be around here. We find a lot of them as we were diving along. And as opposed to the beaches here in South Florida, where we have an enormous number of loggerhead green and leatherback nests on our beach, the focus of research has remained on those species. And so I decided to see what we could do about the hawksbills that seem to be very populous around here. So 10 years ago I started a study that's designed to census the turtles, to find out about where their origins are, what they eat, what they do, how fast do they grow, what lives on them, all the different questions you can ask of sea turtles around here. And it's been very lucky for me because nobody had otherwise looked at this species before. So it's really, it's great and exciting.
So what is the biggest thing you learned about hawksbill turtles that you didn't expect to find?
Yeah, by far the biggest thing was how many there are. We know that hawksbill turtles love the Caribbean islands, they love low latitudes. If you go down to Honduras, we're going to see lots of hawksbills. What was interesting is that the world of science and the world of sea turtles, we really didn't realize how important Florida's waters are for this particular species. And these are international species. And so you have to know where they are in order to protect them. And so what I've been able to do, and by far the most surprising thing, is how many hawksbills we have here. Turns out South Florida really is an important place for this.
Okay, so they're on the critically endangered list.
Yeah.
Okay, what makes them critically endangered? What has almost wiped them out?
Well, they're beautiful, and that's the bottom line. Is their shell on this particular species has a particular thickness, a particular texture, and a particular color that made it absolutely ideal for all different types of very beautiful jewelry, personal items, inlays, for cabinetry and so on. So for thousands of years, literally, I mean since the time of Cleopatra, people have been using hawksbill shell for these very, very high-end, beautiful, artistic uses.
Shell. You see how the scoots, these are called scoots, they lay like the roofing tile, right? Like an artichoke. Okay? If you have a green turtle, it'll lay like tile. Yep, it'll be up against each other. This one lays on top of each other. The other way to tell is they have a nice spiky butt. So see the spikes here?
I'll get my other kid.
So spiky butt is a hawksbill. If it was nice and smooth and round, it would be a green turtle.
And what's the end goal in terms of, now that you've found some information about them, what's the next stages of your research? Like, what's the next step that you want to learn about these turtles?
Well, we'd like to expand geographically a little bit. I've been able to do a great job in a fairly small area here in South Florida. We've gotten a really good handle on their population here in Palm Beach. So our next step is to move geographically out. So we're starting to work in Key West and gradually try to figure out how many turtles, or what the relative abundances of this species is, between here in the northern part of Palm Beach County and way down there at the south end of South Florida in Key West. So geographically we're expanding. And secondly, we'd like to learn a little bit more about how they move. I believe we had a bit of migration going on. I think they're changing their locations as they grow. So we're going to do some more analysis of their blood and their tissues and their shells and things, and we can do all kinds of neat things to try to find out where they've been before they were here in June.
Okay, let's talk about what you took for samples today and what you did. So you tagged them. Let's talk about that little piece a little bit.
Right. There are some basic things we want to do when we get the animal on board. First, we want to get some basic measurements. And that way we can find out clearly what stage of life it's in, and of course, if we catch it again, how it grows and so on. So measurements are very basic information. also wanted to get tags on them so we can tell that this one has already been documented. And so when we're doing a census, we need to be able to identify ones that we've already been able to capture. So we wanted to put tags on them. So we put flipper tags, which are kind of metal sort of, they're actually for cattle, cattle ears, but they work great on turtles. And we also put a microchip in there, like people use now for their dogs and cats. So if those flipper tags that are on the outside of the turtle eventually kind of come out or fall off or something, we do have another way of checking out on the inside. And then from there, we wanted to take a little bit of turtle home with us, and that tells us a little bit about their genetic origin. One of the real interesting things about this project is that Hawksbill turtles, though they like to live here on our reefs, the species doesn't lay eggs on forest beaches. So we were really curious. Of course, they must have come from some beach somewhere. And so we wanted to do genetic work on them to find out where these turtles are originating, because in theory they're going to return to those places again once they do get old enough to reproduce. So the little tissue sample that we take goes off to the lab for genetic analysis. Just for the curious, we have done some work with that, and we have found that about 80% of the turtles that I've tagged so far come from the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, which is a very important hawksbill nesting rookery.
Tagged by anybody else or by us for some reason, we would first make sure he's not tagged so we don't over-tag on him. So we did a scanner, that's what he was just doing, to check and see, and there's nothing. We'll do pre-tag. So we'll do an internal microchip, and then we'll do a tag on each flipper. It'll be external. And then it's a metal tag, and it'll have 3 letters followed by 3 numbers. So that when somebody comes across a turtle, if you can see the tag numbers, you can write that down on a slate, and then you can report it back to Larry, so he knows where you've seen the turtle. Now these guys are actually pretty good about staying put. They probably venture around a mile to 2 miles of where they were actually found and we caught them. We've been able to figure that out because we'll put transmitters on their backs, and we've been able to see the diagrams and see how far these animals move when they hit the surface. So it'll send a satellite to a marking, a GPS marking. And some of the ones that we've done actually live in certain areas on the reef. So we found one that lives on Breakers Reef, which is a little farther south, and he just stays there. We've had one on a wreck, and it stays there, and usually at night. You can tell it's, one of tunnels. But on the wreck, yeah. Just like an air parachute.
So a lot of our turtles that are growing up here as young teenagers in South Florida originated down there in the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico. And then upon reaching their own maturity, when they get old enough to lay their own eggs, or they're males, so find females, they're going to head back down that way. And so this is kind of that neat thing, is that we've got a temporary part of their lives here. This is developmental habitat, we call it. It's like when they're young, they got to grow up someplace, get big and strong, so they can get through that time of their lives, so then they can get back to spending the rest of their lives closer to where it was they originally came from. And then, of course, have babies.
Awesome. So if people that are watching this want to check out your research or learn a little bit more about your project or who you are and what you're doing, is there a place that they can do that?
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.floridahawksbills.com.
Okay.
So it's very easy to remember. You can Google that. It comes up right away. Just put Florida Hawksbills in there. It'll come right up. I also have a Facebook page, like all the kids. The Florida Hawksbill Project Facebook page is there. And my name is Larry Wood. You can also find me, Larry at floridahawksbills.com. So yeah, if you have any questions or further interest in what I do, perhaps even some type of volunteerism or project maybe a student has to do for a master's or some thesis or something like that, I'd be happy to help out.
I used to imagine 150-pound turtles just doing the same thing.
There are people that go catch those big loggerheads down on the keys and hands up for a second. But they jump off the front of the boat. The way they do that is the rodeo, where they go on a skiff boat and they
the front and just jump right on.